Do you also sometimes go on a drive to clear your mind as it gives you peace? Well, today we'll show you why that might not always be the case, as there are plenty of idiots on the road to ruin your day and your car for you. Sit back and relax as you might learn a few things today about not only people, but maybe yourself and how you drive too. Let's begin. If you miss an exit, it would be best to just take the long way and exit from the next ramp. But this guy decided it was now or never and just went for it, and now nobody's going anywhere. Looks like those noise-canceling features are working pretty well, because there's no way on earth that this guy couldn't have heard the trailer he's dragging behind, and it might be on purpose. Upon realizing that there were people coming the opposite way and the road was too tight for two parties to cross at the same time, he drove right off the road and into the water to give way. What a gentleman. Sometimes even the ones enforcing the law are the ones acting like idiots, and this driver almost rear-ended an officer when he brake-checked him out of the blue. Muscle cars with a crowd around in a tight road? That's a ticking time bomb. And one of the drivers who unsurprisingly drives a Mustang folds under the pressure and wrecks his car against the pole. Google Maps sometimes take you through places a car's not supposed to go through. Insane people always know not to go there, but not all of them have common sense as it seems. Closing down the intersection just so you can do donuts is one thing, but ending up crashing into an electricity pole while doing it makes you feel rightfully embarrassed. Now the whole block is out. This is one confusing clip. A driver decides he's had enough of driving straight and starts driving backwards up the ramp. After doing so, you might think he's done, but he's just getting started and keeps at it all the way. As it seems, karma can hit you at any moment, and this driver was cut off by another, and right after doing so they get a refreshing smoothie to the face, almost by someone who also had a bone to pick.
That made me happy.
You know something will go wrong when you see a truck like this that has stuff hanging outside of it and taking up more than one lane. Whoever did this needs to be put behind bars because that is a hazard. Here we have another Mustang driver in their natural element as they burn rubber and lose control of their car predictably and crash into yet another electricity pole. You really have to be aware of red light runners. As you can see, this Civic nearly misses getting into an accident with one who crazily enough makes a U-turn and goes back. Looks like someone's too short to see over the steering wheel and parked their car right on top of a divider. Next time they should use some cushions. Here are supercars leaving a car meet, and like always, the BMW guys do too much for attention. But this one time, one of them crashes right into the curb after trying to drift the car. Arabs have a craze for dunes and the desert, and this guy was so blinded by the craze that he jumps over the dune and right into another parked car.
They're coming!
Swerving all over the road, this driver can't seem to stay in their lane and ends up hitting the railing of the bridge, causing them to spin out and wrecking the car into pieces. Looks like someone tried to cut through traffic by changing over to the service lane. Unluckily for them, the soil was too soft and now the truck is stuck and can't move at all. Either this person is too drunk or they're just sleeping behind the wheel at this point. Regardless of the cause, they seem to be scraping the belly of the car and becoming a danger for everyone else around. A bunch of racers were speeding down this highway, and as it turns out, both of them lacked the skills to do so as they both ended up crashing their cars into other cars.
Hold on.
A driver swerved out of the lane as they didn't notice the slow car in front of them and started going everywhere, after which they crashed into the same car and wrecked both of them.
So you can enjoy more streaming, gaming, chatting, and everything else.
On a busy road, this driver almost got a heart attack when a truck got into an accident and started flying towards them without any brakes or steering. An impatient driver tried to cut in front of this traffic jam and got to meet not only Lady Karma, but a cop too, who pulled him over to the side for some questioning and hopefully fines. If you ever wonder why all the intersections have stop signs on them, you might want to see this clip, as this is a road where there aren't any signs to begin with. Using your side mirrors is an offense for the driver in the white car who overtakes a car while he himself is being overtaken, and this results in a crash that probably had this highway closed down. A red light runner almost had his license revoked when he ran through the light at a super high speed, that too in front of a cop who saw everything unfold in front of him. When it's raining, you really need to take precautions, but this guy decided to keep his speed up and go into this turn, and not so surprisingly, he spins out. On crazy roads like these, it is best if you have the reflex skills necessary to survive, and this driver has all of them as two drivers crash all over the place. Here's another dumb driver who spins out on a slippery road after he decides to speed in his wet corner in the rain. I hope he learned from his mistake because it rains pretty often. When you see someone turn into your lane, what would you do? Well, this driver thought it would be best to try the driver with his car and only ended up making things worse. God knows what this guy expected when he decided to tow a heavy trailer up a snowy slope with his clearly underpowered van. Looks like he needs to upgrade not those tires, but that car. Here's a driver who has too much load on his trailer and is carrying a car identical to the one he's driving. The trailer starts swerving, and instead of slowing down, he keeps it up and ends up wrecking both cars. If you ever wondered why lane discipline is important, then this video should be enough reason why, as the SUV tries turning from the wrong lane and causes a Tesla driver to go crashing into the building. After causing an accident, this driver gets even more confused and backs around right into another truck that was approaching the scene. Having knowledge about the car you're driving is very crucial, as you need to know what makes it work, and don't be like this guy who argues that a little bit of diesel in his petrol car won't hurt.
What did you just do?
Jessica, it's 10 cents a litre cheaper to use petrol instead of diesel.
But it's a diesel car.
That's a suggestion!
What are you talking
What do you
about?
think's gonna happen? Like, seriously. Watch. Just watch.
Buying a supercar doesn't automatically make you a good driver, as this person shows us when he rips his Lambo and swerves right into another parked car after losing control. Some people buy their licenses off eBay, and this woman proves that point when a gate becomes her biggest obstacle. The way she faces the problem is also another mind-boggling experience. A Karen thought this person was using her ticket to get out of the complex and decided to confront him, but forgot to put her car out of drive as it slowly started moving when she got out.
What'd I do? What'd I do? What'd I do? How did I get in here? How did I get in here?
I don't know.
How did I get in here?
Someone's having a bad day with a drunken driver who's racing down the street, bumping into parked cars, and suddenly flips because of one, sending the poor car on its roof. When you see a lot of water on the road while driving your luxury car, what do? Avoid it, right? This guy decided to risk it and almost drowned himself along with a car. Here's another idiot who tried the same thing, but this time they sped up to cause maximum damage, and succeeded. The car starts smoking and turns off, breathing its last stroke of air and fuel. This driver, who claims to be one, slides into the turn and into a light pole that falls right down on top of the car for revenge, causing even more damage to the vehicle and knocking some sense into the driver's head, hopefully. Even if you have an off-roader, that too from Toyota, you still have to be careful while driving into a puddle of water this deep. This guy full sent it, and looks like you won't be sending that car anywhere anymore except the repair shop. This man sliding backwards with the tires spinning has skill, but do you know who doesn't? This Mustang driver who ended up hitting the container straight on. A truck driver hit a passing cargo train so hard that they managed to derail the whole thing. Now the train is damaging everything around it, and hopefully insurance hit that person hard.
Oh great, now I gotta stay in my car.
After seeing everyone get stuck in the high water, this driver wanted to flex how his truck could make it past that particular patch. His win is short-lived, however, as he almost sinks with his car later down the line. Checking your side mirrors is a must, and this person has probably sold his when he overreacted and made a very unnecessary move into the fast lane. It is a wonder how this driver managed to come home without a scratch on the car, but as soon as they drove up the driveway, all hell broke loose and they forgot how a car even works. The driver of this red truck thought he could bully his way over into the other lane and almost squeezed this poor guy in between the two cars. Luckily, the eye of the law was watching and immediately pulled him over. These people are standing here to see racers drive down the road at high speeds, but at speeds like this, it wasn't a wise decision to suddenly brake hard enough to lock your brakes completely. While driving, it is always important to not overreact to everything that goes on, as this driver did, who wanted to correct themselves but overdid it, resulting in a crash in the middle of a freeway. Here's another reason why you need to be always alert about the cars around you. This person saw the car change lanes at the last moment and scared themselves into an accident. These people saw a driver on the wrong side of the road driving down it as if they were doing nothing wrong. An oncoming bus crashes right into the car, but the driver of the bus managed to slow down enough in the nick of time. Who do you think should have waited for the other truck to go past? I personally believe that both of them should have at least taken it slow to figure out who goes first instead of getting face to face like this. From the looks of it, the driver of this red semi fell asleep on the road and drove right into another parked truck that was just conveniently placed in that specific location. After waiting for the car to get close, the person on the right decides to merge right when the car's on top of them and make their move, causing a very avoidable crash. Overtaking is an art that not anyone can execute perfectly. Being perfect is a long stretch, but this person in the oncoming car made it look like they had zero calculations behind it at all. Because the Audi's super low, the driver takes it slow and steady over the speed bump, and the driver behind him gets impatient, making an overtake and then suddenly brake checking the supercar at the worst time possible. For all the muscle car people out there, you really need to know that these cars don't do great with turns, and this Charger spins right out of control, hitting an innocent driver and causing them both to crash. From what it seems, stop signs are hard to note nowadays, and these two drivers didn't even see each other coming. Everyone thinks that they have the right of way nowadays. Finally, here's someone who has the reflexes to stop on time and managed to avoid T-boning a red light runner by mere inches, if not a few feet left behind them. If you're going to haul something behind your vehicle on a trailer, just make sure that it's fastened down properly and doesn't come apart on a busy road as this one did. Whoa! People really just trust each other to give way nowadays, and little do they know, everyone's self-entitled to go right through like this, and this is exactly what causes crashes that could have been easily avoided.
Oh my God.
While driving down the road, this poor driver encountered a blind person trying to make a turn without using side mirrors. As soon as the car came near, they decided now is the time to pull out. Here's another thing people do, like it increases their good citizen points. A white truck driver pulls out onto the road thinking that the other car will automatically slow down for them if they don't look. Texting and driving sounds like a harmless thing until you're behind the wheel and become an example for people to learn from. That had to be embarrassing when he saw the video of himself. If you feel like you didn't get a good night's sleep, then it would be best if you just take the Uber or ask someone else to drive you, because you might end up like this guy, falling asleep behind the wheel. Rule number 1 of driving on a road is to always keep your eyes forward, and this person failed that rule when they ended up rear-ending another car that was waiting on the signal to make a turn.
Really, dude?
For some odd reason, the truck driver at the front decided to brake check this person, and thankfully, they avoided getting into a crash by swerving into the shoulder. A highway might mean a continuous drive, but you should expect the unexpected, such as stops like this that randomly happen from time to time. God knows what was going on in the head of this Civic driver when they decided to make a left turn and then a sudden U-turn without even a blinker on from the wrong lane at that. Looks like people have taken making sudden and quick U-turns as a trend, as here's yet another driver who makes a U-turn without a warning or a signal. For some odd reason, this Porsche driver thought it would be a good idea to come to a dead stop on the highway and caused a small pileup behind them. Maybe it was because of Google Maps? All that this poor truck driver wanted to do was get some McDonald's at the end of the day, and ended up prolonging their day after ripping the truck one and the driver.
Well, babe, do not get out this car. Do not get out this car. He is finna leave.
Some people might call this road rage, but I would call this helping, as the Subaru driver is clearly helping the Mercedes driver in their pursuit to parallel their car. If you tend to overthink and overreact to the smallest things, then driving a car might not be your cup of tea, as this driver overdid their save and turned it around into an accident. The driver at the front might seem to be at fault here, with that person stopping because of the yield sign. However, the same cannot be said about the other people behind them who crash right into them. Driving's not enough, so some people tend to text their friends about their day while driving, and most of them end up like this, honestly. Here's the aftermath of a drunk driver who crashed his car into something and is now trying his best to not only get the car off, but to get up on his own 2 feet. It's people like these that give drivers a bad image, as they just casually change lanes without warning as if they own the whole thing. A driver thought they could take a shortcut using a bike lane, but their shortcut ended up taking more time than they expected.
This is not a road.
You can clearly understand that there was no proper thought behind this attempt to transport this refrigerator.